So Ye opens up about fatherhood, the Donda Academy, and his broken business deals. Let's get into it.
That is Donda.
He says he leans heavily into his faith for all aspects of his life.
People always want to know, I think, about your mental health. You know, you've talked before about how you were diagnosed as bipolar.
You know what? I think that this idea, this concept of mental health being this big subject is straight up media propaganda to diminish people that are not coloring inside the lines. We just accept this kind of idea of people saying like, hey, we want to talk about your mental health. And it's almost...
What's undoubtable is Kanye West's influence as a mogul, as a businessman, and as a musician. With that being said, when he says things like that trivializes mental health, it is very dangerous. See, two things can be true at the same time, you feel me? The first is that we can acknowledge that the media does engage with trivializing mental health, which leads to ableist impacts. The second thing we can acknowledge is that what Kanye West just said also leads to ableist impacts. And see, for somebody that claim to be woke and think for themselves, Ye has a bad habit of just opposing anything that disagrees with him as being the media or being them out there. His claim about the media, mental health propaganda, and writing in between the lines, it leads to stigmatization, not only for men in mental health, but definitely men of color. This man then racially gaslit his way into talking about racial trauma, racial suffering, and everything that he has experienced at the hands of Kim Kardashian and her family as a black man. And they're going to get there in 4K and say mental health is about people that just getting seen as crazy and not want to read. Come on now.
We're going to talk about your mental health. And it's almost like if a white person said to a black person, hey, we want to talk about your blackness. And one of the things about the whole mental health conversation is even a crazy person can call you crazy.
His next...
Man, what in the false equivalence is going on here? For Ye being somebody that love to talk about victim mentality and being a victor, he sure does love trivializing and engaging in racial pathology whenever it benefits him. Because how in the heck is you going to compare blackness to mental health? I would argue saying questioning my mental health is like questioning my blackness causes an erasure for individuals that's black that's literally dealing with mental health. As a black man, he's talked about having the weight of the world on his shoulders, and then he's correlated mental health is just a question of drawing in between the lines. I feel like the weight on the world, having the weight of the world on your shoulders, seem like something that can be dealt with in therapy or dealing with your mental health.
Did run for president in 2020. Do you have future political aspirations?
Yes, absolutely. The aspirations, you know, that time wasn't in God's time. I'm sure God had me fall on the sword and say, this is not the time.
But Ye says he isn't finished yet.
People write off the fact that I'm going to change the world. They just think it's crazy.
How are you going to change the world?
More? How are we going to change the world more?
More.
We're going to change the world through information, through knowledge, through love, through respect, through understanding.
Correlating mental health to being media propaganda sound like love, knowledge, and care to y'all. His global influence is undeniable. We've seen what he did for Gap and what he did for Adidas. His influence on public discourse about mental health, bad though.